Looks like we are live. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome. I'm just going to refresh, make sure everything is good to go before we get started. Hope everybody's having a great week. And today we are here, as we always are, every Friday to give you the next 10 minutes or so of motivation, inspiration, and education. It's all things that we are. It is all things to help you become a better person, a better business person, a better entrepreneur, a better trader. It's all personal development, so to speak, and you becoming a better you. All right. So we appreciate it. If you are watching, definitely say hello. Don't be a stranger. And we will say hello back. We appreciate you spending the next 10 or so minutes with us. So today we're going to be talking about creating your own life. All right. And what do we mean by that? Hey, what's up, Jared? What do we mean? Well, every successful person in life is going to have countless setbacks. All right, not suspects, setbacks. But it's really about how you respond to those setbacks. It's what's going to determine how successful you are. That's what sets apart the people who are successful and the people who are not. You know, John C. Maxwell, he's obviously a very successful author and speaker, amazing books he's written. He wrote a really good book called Fail Forward. All right, so I highly recommend you read it if you haven't. But it's about failing soon, failing often, but also always failing forward. Right? You never fell backwards. You fell forwards. And, you know, because Murphy's Law, you know, we know all Murphy's Law, right? What can go wrong will go wrong. And I'd even add at the worst possible time, and it's going to cost you the most amount of money. Right? I mean, I'm not trying to be negative. Murphy said it, I didn't, right? But
You're not Murphy.
Murphy, I'll shoot the messenger. But the point is, it's true. What can go wrong probably will go wrong, but that's okay. That's okay. It doesn't mean we're going to curl up in our sheets and cry and be an ostrich and, you know, stick our head in the sand. We're not going to do that. We're going to get into that, why that's not a problem today.
Right. And the more things you try to accomplish, right? The more goals you set and the higher aspirations you have, the more problems you're going to have, right? And that's okay. That's expected, right? You're actually earning the right to those problems. You're earning the right to have more problems. Jason Brown, who's like chairman 750 in our company, it's a while ago, but he's like, you know, stop complaining and pray that you have chairman 50 problems, right? He was probably a chairman 50 at that time when he said it, but you know, instead of just wishing you don't have problems, just wish you had the problems of the people that have those problems where you want to be, right? Because everybody has those problems. Even when you're broke, you're going to have problems, right? So why not be wealthy and have problems, or why not be a chairman and have problems? Why not be a successful trader and have problems? You know, whatever it is, you're going to have those problems. Just you have to learn how to negotiate them, right? And I'd rather be successful and have problems. If I'm going to have them anyway, that's the better position to be in.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I said it earlier. One of the biggest separating factors between successful people and unsuccessful people is how they respond to disappointments. They respond differently. You know, unsuccessful people, they whine, they complain, they play the blame game. But successful people, they analyze and they overcome. Right? The way you deal with a disappointment is a major factor in your success. And yeah, I'm talking to the people that call me on a daily basis, message me, you know, complaining. Not Jay. I'm not, you know, complaining, whining, right? You know, why didn't I win this trade? Or why am I not a successful trader yet? Or why I'm not a P5000 yet? Or things like that. It's just no wonder they're not, because the words that come out of our mouths are very powerful. Very powerful. So instead of focusing on what you're not and your problems, focus on how to get around those problems. How do you overcome those problems? There's always a way. Why? Because many people have done it. You think the people that have accomplished 6 and 7 figure trader, they've accomplished chairman 10, chairman 50, chairman 750. They got there. That's a good thing. That means we can get there. But they had the same problems that you're going to have along the way. So how do they get around it?
Yeah, and that's the question, right? Is what are you able to do about it, right? What do you do when you have those problems? You know, do you blow up? Do you curl up in the fetal position, like Dan was saying? Do you let your problems overwhelm you? Do you start blaming people and getting angry? And you know, are you defensive about everything? And it's all about how you react to those situations, right? You can also, instead of doing all those things, right, you can roll with the punches, right? You can respond effectively. You can have a plan for what's going to happen. You can, maybe we hear it sometimes, and I literally have heard this from people. They're like, well, it's easy for you, right? When people look at David and I, they're like, oh, well, it's easy for you guys because you've been trading for 5 years, right? But we didn't start trading for 5 years. We started trading with nothing, right? Whatever it is, like wherever you start, you started with nothing, right? Or some of us did. Anyway, we've had the same setbacks that you've had, right? We've had the same obstacles. We still have them every day, but we choose to get back up and regroup and move forward and keep pressing forward instead of letting the problems be the main focus.
Yeah. So getting down to it, what do you do, right? What do? You have to know in your mind that these things are going to happen. You expect them to happen, but you prepare for them. It's not about like, I expect the worst. It's not about being negative. It's about being prepared. It's just a matter of time for something. It doesn't mean it's the worst thing that's ever happened, but something's going to go wrong. It's going to be a speed bump. So how do you prepare for those? Personal development. First and foremost, strengthen your mind. Like military training, you're going to be ready for battle. Remember, you're blessed to have chairman problems. You're blessed to have 6 and 7 figure trader problems. So I want you to say every day, on top of your personal development, I might face obstacles today, but I will not falter. I am unstoppable. That's the mindset you need to have.
I remember this just came to mind when you're talking about like that military training and how like it's not being negative, right? You're just being prepared. And I remember in that book by Ryan Holiday, The Obstacle is the Way, or one of his 4 books. I'm not sure if that was the one, but he was talking about how like NASA, like imagine like that first trip to the moon, right? Like the training and all the scenarios they had to run through, right? Because you got a guy that's, I don't know how far the moon is away, 30,000 miles away. Maybe it's not that far. Maybe it's further out. I don't really know, but it's a long way away, right? In a box with a little fire on its butt, right? Pushing you into space. They had to prepare for every possible scenario, right? What could go wrong here? What could go wrong here? And like they had there's people that think like that, right? And when you think like that, you're a problem solver. That's why they hired those people, because they could think like that and then they find solutions to those problems, right? And that's exactly what we're asking you to do, right? Think about, I don't know if you ever heard of Wayne Gretzky. If you're old like me, you probably heard of Wayne Gretzky. They call him the Great One, right? He's one of the most famous hockey players in the world. And they asked him, like, what's your secret to success, right? How do you always know what's going to happen? He said, well, most people go to where, the puck is here. I know where the puck is at. I go to where the puck is going to be, right? He's thinking ahead. He's planning ahead. Wayne was great because he led all of hockey in assists, right? And that's because he could put the puck where he knew his guy was going to go to, right? Because he could see things developing ahead of time. That's why he was so wonderful, not just because he had a great shot, but because he could feed the puck to somebody else because he could see them opening up before they were open. So anyway, if you care about hockey, I was a huge hockey player and fan. So anyway, the question for you, or for y'all, as David put in his notes here, is where is your puck going to be, right? Where's the puck going to be for you? And are you going to be anticipating it, right? Are you going to be getting checked into the boards by the forward, right? In 3 to 5 years, are you going to be ready, right? Are you going to be ready when those things come that you're anticipating, right? People without vision will perish, right? What if you lost your job today, right? What would happen if you lost your job, right? Some people, their world would fall apart, right? They would panic. Other people would see it as an opportunity, right? For something better. There's so many stories of people that, like when the pandemic hit, right? There's so many stories of people that literally, like, they lost their jobs and their whole life fell apart. And then there's a whole nother set of people that took that opportunity and made something out of it, right? Started new businesses. They took that pandemic money and did something with it, right? It wasn't to go to the casino. It was to do something with it. It was worthwhile. So you just have to approach those potential problems with a mindset that, I'm going to be prepared for it. And what am I going to do? And when it does hit, then it's not a huge shock, right? You were already expecting. I already knew these Chairman 50 problems were coming. I'm ready for it. Let's go. I'm ready for my Chairman 100 problems.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm going to wrap this up with your call to action for today. All right. Your call to action for today is write out a plan. I want you to sit down and I want you to write out the obstacles that you can see happening for where you want to go. All right. Where is your goal and what are the obstacles to get there? Is it finances? Is it a spouse? Is it somebody that's in your life that's really negative and holding you back, right? Well, how are you going to work with those things, right? Not necessarily get rid of those things, but how are you going to work with those things? I don't recommend getting rid of your spouse, but work with those things to get to where you want to go. If you're building the business and a leader leaves your team, what are you going to do? If you make a mistake and you lose a bunch of money trading, or maybe you blow an account, what are you going to do? Are you going to quit? Are you going to learn from it? Are you going to get better? And you're going to prepare for it next time so it doesn't happen again? Okay, so do that. I highly recommend it, and really take to heart what we've said today, and it's going to prepare you for success. So, Jay, as always, I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate everybody's watching. We got a good group on here, and y'all, we'll see you next week. But I hope everybody has a great weekend. God bless. We'll talk soon.
Bye. See you guys.